Rejected by love for years, Millionaire's heart changed after discovering a nurse's touching act. Alex Harrington stood in the hospital room, dazed and vulnerable. His chest felt tight, the cold, sterile air contrasting sharply with the warmth of the sun that usually bathed his luxurious office. A self-made millionaire at 38, he was accustomed to wearing the armor of wealth, but this moment stripped him bare. The simple fact of being alone, wrapped in a flimsy gown that did nothing to hide his insecurity, gnawed at him. He scanned the room, and there she was, Emily Foster. She moved through the chaos of beeping machines with grace. Her compassion radiated like sunlight, breaking through the clouds of his solitary existence. "Mr. Harrington, how are we feeling today?" she asked softly, her eyes warm with genuine concern. Alex could barely form words under her gentle gaze. For the first time in years, he felt a flicker of hope, a yearning for something real amidst his sea of superficial accolades. As days turned into long, drawn-out hospital hours, Alex watched Emily care for patients. With every bandage she wrapped and every hand she held, he saw a different side of humanity. Her laughter floated softly in the air, wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. It was beyond wealth, beyond status. It was the kind of connection he'd craved but never bonded with. His past haunted him, filled with rejections and fleeting relationships, people drawn to his bank account rather than his heart. Emily's stories flowed like rivers, tales of struggles and victories that built the fabric of their small community. Her boyfriend from high school, a soldier lost to a war neither could forget. Alex's own upbringing was marred with a different kind of pain, a father's relentless expectations that left his heart heavy with disappointment. Each word they shared brought them closer, but as whispers of his wealth seeped through the town, reality crept back in. Alex felt the cold judgments. To many, he was still just a millionaire, not the vulnerable man seeking connection. He needed the town's acceptance, every bit of it, and yet the whispers pushed him further into isolation. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Determined to break through the barriers, Alex volunteered at the local community center where Emily spent her days. Each family impacted by his presence rooted him deeper into the town's soul. He began to transform, humility reshaping the layers of his identity. Little moments shared with Emily, a glance, a laugh, kindness bloomed between them, gave rise to a bond that felt impossibly real. The day of the fundraising event arrived. Hope danced in the air, yet so did anxiety. Standing before a crowd unsure of his motives, Alex felt time stall. As he prepared to speak, a murmur spread through the audience. Doubts about his sincerity rose like smoke, threatening to choke him. Just when he thought he could finally reach out, judgment sliced through the moment like glass. Emily stood at the edge of the crowd, her heart racing between admiration and trepidation. Would his vulnerability earn their love, or would it all come crumbling down in the face of skepticism? Alex felt the walls close in, knowing full well the outcome rested on his next few words. Would he truly break free from the shackles of his past and find connection, or would he stand alone once again in the crowd? Alex took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment pressing down on him. His eyes darted through the crowd, searching for Emily's face. He needed her support. He needed to feel anchored in this sea of uncertainty. When their eyes met, a flicker of assurance ignited within him. Her subtle nod seemed to whisper, "You can do this." He stepped toward the microphone, anxiety twisting in his gut. The warm lights blurred the anxious faces in front of him. "Good evening, everyone," he started, his voice shaky but resolute. "I know many of you are skeptical about why I'm here tonight. Believe me, a few months ago, I would have been the first to question my intentions." A few murmurs echoed through the crowd, and he could feel judgment layer upon layer like a heavy coat. But he pressed on, reminding himself of every patient Emily had tended to, every family fishing out hope from despair. This isn't about me, it's about what we can do together for this community. He paused, allowing his thoughts to catch up with his words. I grew up feeling alone, surrounded by wealth that never filled the void inside me. It wasn't until I started volunteering here, meeting people who genuinely care for one another, that I began to understand what truly matters. The crowd quieted down, the murmurs fading into an anticipatory silence. Alex saw flickers of curiosity replace skepticism. You welcomed me when I felt like an outsider, and I want to give back. These projects we're funding tonight aren't just charity. They're an investment in the heart of our town, in each other. He glanced again at Emily, whose eyes sparkled with something just shy of pride. For a brief moment, he locked onto that moment when they had wrapped sandwiches for the homeless together, a simple act that had solidified his choice to change. Turning back to the audience, he continued, I want to express my gratitude to Emily. She has inspired me more than she'll ever know. Her dedication and love for this community is what brought me here. Laughter rippled through the crowd, and he remembered how they had joked about him trying hard to fit into this world. He began sharing anecdotes, how he accidentally nearly burned down the kitchen while making a casserole, how the kids at the community center had taught him to play basketball. The more he talked, the more he found his footing. Faces softened, the ice began to melt. He realized that sharing his vulnerabilities didn't reveal weakness. It showcased his humanity. As he finished speaking, a sense of relief washed over him. He could sense the audience warming up, excitement flickering in their eyes, and for the first time, he believed in the connection they might forge moving forward. But just when he thought that chapters were closing and resolved, the doors swung open behind him. A figure stepped inside, a tall man with an intense scowl. Alex's heart skipped, a knot forming in his stomach. He recognized him instantly, the ghost from his past. What are you doing here? The man's voice cut through the atmosphere like a jagged edge of ice, sending waves of tension pulsing through the crowd. Alex's breath caught in his throat, and in the heart of a moment he had hoped would elevate him, dread began to loom like thunder in the distance. With the crowd potentially torn between surprise and venom, Alex faced the encroaching storm. Would this confrontation unravel everything he had just built, or could he stand strong against the shadow of his past? The weight of the moment intensified as the figure strode down the aisle, a storm brewing in his eyes. Alex felt his palms grow clammy against the microphone. Memories surged painfully, arguments, harsh words, and the life he had fought so hard to leave behind. Isn't it quaint, seeing the rich kid trying to play savior? The man spat, his voice dripping with disdain. There was a ripple of unease in the audience. Alex felt a shudder run through the crowd, uncertainty thickening the air. Who invited you? Someone muttered from the back, the voice echoing the growing sentiments of disbelief. Enough! Alex found his own voice rising above the murmur. He could feel Emily's eyes on him, an anchor amidst the chaos. This is not about me. This is about our future. People here want to build a community. Community? The man laughed, a harsh, short sound. You're playing with their hopes like they're some game. You don't belong here, Alex. Anger flared inside him, mixing with fear. He turned slightly to his left, catching glimpses of the anxious faces. They had come tonight filled with hope, uncertain but willing to listen. How could he let this man taint their expectations? How could he let him taint his desire to change? Challenging himself, Alex leaned closer to the mic. You're right. I've made mistakes, and I'm not asking you to believe in me completely. But that's why I'm here, to learn from them, to be better. And everyone in this room deserves that chance too. Observing the crowd, he noticed a mix of surprise and cautious respect in their faces. It was a glimmer of something he hadn't anticipated. Maybe standing up for himself had some weight. Let me guess, the man sneered, you think you can just buy redemption? No, Alex shouted, the word bursting from him like a dam breaking. I'm not here to buy anything. I'm here to connect, to share in our humanity. It's about rolling up our sleeves and working together. This community deserves better, he added, pointing a finger toward the audience. his heart pounding louder than ever. He saw Emily move subtly closer, her expression imbued with warmth, urging him onward. Every shared experience, every moment of laughter with the kids, every late-night conversation at the shelter pushed him to hold his ground. "A man can change," Alex began again, voice steadier now. The crowd started to nod, encouragement rising from the front row. Alex felt a flicker of triumph. "Change?" The man scoffed, arms crossed defiantly. "You think you have any idea what real struggle looks like? Look around, Alex. You're still the boy in the bubble you were born in." But the subtle rustling in the crowd told Alex that voices were raising in support. People were murmuring, sharing their own stories. They understood the struggle, and they were beginning to see someone they could relate to. "Maybe I don't," Alex conceded, taking a shaky breath. "But I'm trying to understand. I can't change the past, but I want to let it dictate who I am now." He looked directly at the man, a spark igniting in his chest. "And I want to let it define our community either." The tension in the room hung like a thick cloud, one that felt ready to break. Just as Alex thought he might have reached some common ground, the man stepped back, a smirk playing on his lips. "This isn't over, kid." With that, he turned and left, the doors swinging shut behind him. The air shifted as silence fell once more. For a moment, Alex stood frozen, pulse racing. Had he risen to the occasion, or had he just opened another wound? He could see Emily's face, a blend of concern and pride. But as he looked to the grounding faces surrounding him, something unexpected struck him. If he had their backing, maybe he could endure whatever came next. "What now?" he murmured under his breath, caught in the delicate balance between fear and hope. The crowd began to applaud, a wave of warmth washing over him. But it was all too clear that the real fight was far from over. Deep down, he felt a quiet determination take root, almost as if fate was pulling strings around him. But would his resolve survive the upcoming trials he may have to face? He was beginning to realize that this moment was only the beginning. As he took a deep breath, gathering his courage, he wondered, what will the coming days reveal about the person he was destined to become? The applause echoed in the room, a mix of relief and hope sweeping over Alex. As the last lingering notes of clapping faded, he searched the crowd's faces, looking for some sign of what came next. Emily's supportive smile brought a warmth that chased away some of the tension that had settled in his chest. "Maybe I should keep talking," he said, more to himself than anyone else. It felt strange to think he actually had something valuable to say, but a wave of courage washed over him. "We've got work to do, right? Who's with me?" The quiet murmurs from the audience shifted to confident voices, and one by one, people began raising their hands, nodding in agreement. For every hesitant glance, there was now a smile, a gesture of unity that echoed in his heart. But just as optimism swelled, that nagging feeling from before crept back in. The door had barely closed behind the man. What was his name? Throughout the confrontation, Alex had never felt the need to remember it before. Just a shadow, a remnant of his past. "Alex, maybe we could..." Emily's voice interrupted his thoughts, pulling him back to the present. She stepped closer, her warm energy grounding him once more. "Yeah." He focused on her, the room around them fading into a soft blur. "I know this moment feels big, but we should think ahead. That man he'll come back. One he?" The worry etched on her face mirrored his own thoughts. "You're right." Alex tilted his head, letting the room grow quiet again. "But I can't back down now. It was the first real step. If I show them I'm committed, they'll see I'm worth trusting." "Exactly," she encouraged. "But be prepared. Not everyone will see your intentions the same way." The words hung in the air like a challenge. Alex glanced at the crowd. Many were still buzzing with enthusiasm, inspired by his passion. Yet, in the back of his mind, he envisioned the man's sneer and the heavy weight of his words. "I need to address this. Maybe we hold a workshop next week? Open dialogue about challenges? Create an action plan? Now you're cooking." Emily grinned, her excitement palpable as they discussed ideas. Alex felt the adrenaline pushing him forward. He could do this. They could galvanize change, form connections that reach deep into the heart of the community. But the memory of the man's parting words haunted him. "This isn't over, kid." Later, amid a flurry of planning with Emily and a small group of supporters, something changed. The energy in the room was different, charged with purpose and camaraderie. But as the last details were hashed out, Alex caught a solitary figure lingering at the back. Jenna, the nurse from the local clinic, who shared the stories of her patients like tender threads weaving into the fabric of their community. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, and she looked as though she wanted to speak, but was hesitant. "Jenna?" he called out, stepping closer. The crowd fell silent, all eyes on her. "Do you have something to add?" The spotlight shifted, and for a moment, Alex felt the gravity of the moment. Jenna opened her mouth, but the words caught in her throat. Alex, I think we need to face some hard truths. About trust, about hope. It's not just about your intentions." Her voice trembled, and everyone listened intently. "What do you mean?" Alex asked softly. As Jenna took a breath, the tension in the air thickened. There was something more to uncover, something that could either bond them tighter or pull them apart. The way she looked at him, he could feel the mix of doubt and expectation. People are afraid, and they have good reason to be. The weight of her words settled in. What did she mean? What fears could surface now, right when they were trying to build something real? With her next words poised to drop like a stone, Alex felt a chill rush through him. How deeply would this conversation dive? And what new revelations lurked under the surface, waiting to shake their fragile sense of unity? As the silence stretched, every heartbeat echoed a question. What truths were coming to light, and could they weather them? Together? A tense hush wrapped around the room as Jenna gathered her thoughts. The crowd's curiosity morphed into apprehension, each person leaning in to hear her next words. Alex could feel the pulse of expectation, as if they were all holding their breath for answers. "People are afraid," she repeated, her voice stronger now. "Afraid of what happens if they trust and get hurt again. I deal with it every day in my line of work. A mother who refuses to seek help for her sick child because she has been let down by the system before. A man who ignores his own health issues because he fears he won't be treated well." Her gaze met Alex's, eyes shimmering with the weight of both truth and vulnerability. When people have been betrayed or disappointed, it takes something special to make them believe again. "I think you're right to want to lead this group, but we need to understand that building trust will be a journey, not a quick fix." In that moment, Alex understood. It was deeper than he thought. The fears she spoke of resonated with him too. They weren't just about the community's trust in him. It was a reflection of his own fight to believe in himself again. "Jenna, I get that," Alex said, his voice steady now. "But how do we show them we're worthy of that trust? How do we start to break those barriers?" "I think it starts with listening," she replied, her voice warming. "People want to be heard. They want to know that their fears matter. If we can create an environment where they feel safe sharing their stories, where they can connect with each other, maybe we can begin to chip away at that fear." A powerful sense of purpose enveloped him. This was it. It wasn't just about him anymore. It was about nurturing a community that felt broken. He looked around the room and saw not just supporters but fellow warriors, all of them ready to wage a new battle. "What if we hold an event, a community gathering?" Alex suggested. "A place for everyone to share their stories and their fears, without any judgment. Let us break down those walls together." "An open mic night," someone from the group exclaimed, their enthusiasm infectious. "Let everyone speak if they want to. Let them share their experiences." A ripple of agreement washed over the crowd, enthusiasm igniting once more. But behind the growing momentum, an edge of uncertainty remained. Alex couldn't shake the feeling that despite all this hope, shadows still loomed nearby. The man had left a bitter taste in his mind, and what Jenna revealed only emphasized the stakes. They were venturing into deep waters, and he still felt like he was treading on fragile ice. What if it backfires? He thought, but he quickly pushed the doubt down. What if they don't want to come? Emily suddenly spoke, breaking through his thoughts. "If we invite them with genuine hearts, they'll come. You have a way of moving people, Alex. Don't forget that." As the group buzzed with ideas and excitement, Jenna moved close to Alex, her voice low and sincere. Just remember, this process can take time. Relating the fears to healing won't be easy. Keep your heart open. Her words hit him hard. The hard truths would come out during those stories, both beautiful and painful. But he had to believe they could begin forging a path forward. He glanced around at his friends, their faces alive with passion. For the first time in ages, he felt his heart swell with something beyond fear. Possibility. With an electric anticipation filling the air, Jenna spoke again. But do you really think they'll show up? Can we handle what might come out? Alex looked back at her, determination burning within him. We have to try. For them. For us. We can't let fear win. As laughter and plans erupted once more, Alex caught himself smiling. Deep down, he knew this was just the beginning. Yet looming over them all was that lingering shadow, the possibility of facing deeper truths. What fears still lay unspoken? As they kicked off planning for their open mic night, Alex felt a tugging need to confront his past to his demons. Could he truly rebuild trust, starting with himself? The days flew by in a whirlwind of excitement and anxiety. Alex felt the weight of responsibility grow heavier each day. Yet he couldn't shake the exhilarating rush of hope coursing through him. The open mic night was just a week away. Flyers were pinned around town, and the buzz was palpable. Still, he often found himself lost in thought. Wrestling with his own fears, he stood at the window, watching the sun dip below the horizon. The golden light cast long shadows that danced playfully. But the shadows reminded him of the late-night conversations with his reflection, where doubts loomed largest. It wouldn't just be the community's fears that emerged that night. No, he'd have to be ready to expose his vulnerabilities too. Jenna's words replayed in his mind. Keep your heart open. Easier said than done. What if the group called on him? What if they shared their deepest pains, and he was left clumsy and unprepared? The thought of his own struggles spilling out into the open terrified him. He had spent years keeping his past locked away, shoulder to shoulder with secrets too heavy to bear. Hey, Earth to Alex. Emily's bright voice broke through his thoughts, pulling him back to the present. She stood at the door, arms crossed, a knowing smile on her face. You've been staring out that window for hours. Come on. We need your help with the last-minute arrangements. He turned, the weight on his shoulders easing slightly. Yeah. I was just thinking. She raised an eyebrow, a playful smirk forming. If you think too long, we might miss the open mic altogether. Let us get to it. The venue buzzed with laughter and chatter as they began setting up. Alex worked alongside Jenna, arranging chairs and adjusting the mic stand. Each item they set felt like a small step forward, a heartbeat for the community they were hoping to unite. Do you think anyone will come? Jenna asked softly, her brow furrowed. The excitement around them felt too bright against her uncertainty. I have to believe they will, he replied, meeting her gaze. We're creating something special here. A chance for everyone to be seen. Yeah, she nodded, her confidence returning. And there's healing in that. For all of us. As the night approached, Alex wrestled with the idea of sharing his own story. He wanted to help others heal, but exposing his past felt like an impossible leap. Just as he was about to spiral into an emotional knot, the chatter from the growing crowd outside snapped him back. The moment of truth was at hand. Once the doors opened, faces filtered in. People he recognized, some he didn't. They looked hesitant, some seemed anxious, but all were searching for something. The collective energy felt electric, a blend of fear and hope. Alex took a deep breath, feeling the pulse of the crowd around him. He glanced at Jenna, who stood by his side, her presence like an anchor. No matter what happens tonight, we're together in this, he said softly. Together, she echoed, a smile breaking across her face. When the first brave soul took the stage, a hush fell over the crowd, and they leaned forward in their seats, listening intently. The air hummed with empathy as every word shared sparked a connection. Each story seemed to weave a thread into the fabric of the community, pulling them closer together as the night danced on. Alex felt the walls he built begin to tremble. Could he truly share his own story amidst all of this? Suddenly, a voice in the crowd called out, "Alex, you should share too." An electric pulse coursed through him. Every heartbeat thundered in his chest. The weight of their anticipation pressed down like a thick fog. Could he step into the light, or would he retreat into the shadows? As he felt eyes on him, a moment hung in the air, thick with unanswered questions. Would he confront his fears, or would he let this chance slip away? As each face looked to him, trust shimmering in their eyes, he braced himself for a leap into the unknown. What would he discover waiting on the other side? The spotlight flickered, momentarily blinding him as he stepped toward the edge of the stage. Alex felt his heart race, and his palms were damp with anxiety. The voices of the crowd faded, and he became acutely aware of the sound of his own breath. It felt as if the weight of every unsaid word and hidden fear hung in the air, challenging him to take the plunge. Then he saw her. Jenna's unwavering gaze pierced through the fog of his doubt. Her support radiated a warmth that wrapped around him like a comforting blanket. She smiled, and in that moment he didn't feel so alone. He began, his voice barely above a whisper. The crowd hung on to his words, encouraging him to continue. Taking a deep breath, he pushed through the fear. I've been standing on the sidelines of my life for too long, waiting for the right moment. But I've learned that the right moment might never come if I don't create it myself. The anxious thrum in his chest began to settle as he continued. For years I buried my past. I built walls to block out pain and fear. But tonight is about breaking down those walls. He glanced at Jenna, who nodded slightly, her encouragement fueling his determination. I've struggled with feeling like I don't belong. I've been afraid of being vulnerable. He swallowed hard, feeling the lump in his throat. But being here, in front of all of you, I realize that vulnerability isn't weakness. It's bravery. As he spoke, something shifted in the room. Heads nodded, whispers of agreement floated through the audience. People were resonating with him, and it empowered him to dig deeper. I want to be part of this community, to embrace the chaos and the beauty we all carry inside. More stories echoed through his mind, the pain, the heartache, the joy. Voices of those who had already shared their truths gave him strength. I'm scared that my story will make me a target. But I am also hopeful. Hopeful that through all these tears, laughter, and shared experiences, we will find healing together. There was a palpable heartbeat in the crowd now, the kind that came from people who recognized their own battles reflected in his words. Someone wiped a tear, and another reached out to squeeze the hand of a friend. It was a sea of empathy, and Alex felt himself being pulled into it. I don't know what the future holds for me, he continued, but I know I don't want to go back to hiding. I want to be alive, to feel everything, the highs and the lows, because that's what life is about, isn't it? As he finished, an overwhelming wave of applause erupted. People were cheering, some had tears in their eyes. A sense of connection swelled between him and the crowd like an electric current. Alex stepped back from the mic, heart pounding in rhythm with the claps around him. He had done it. He had shared a piece of himself, and instead of fear, there was only an explosion of relief. But before he could catch his breath, Jenna rushed to him, her face glowing. That was incredible. You were amazing. An unexpected weight hung in the air. The night was still young, and he knew that stories were still waiting to be told. As more people prepared to take the stage, Alex felt the air shift. Could this be the beginning of something bigger than just stories? Did he have the courage to keep sharing, to keep connecting? The night was far from over, and while he tasted victory, a new kind of anxiety began to stir within him. What other truths lay ahead, waiting to be uncovered? Alex's excitement was still bubbling when he felt a gentle tug at his sleeve. He turned to see Jenna, her eyes sparkling with admiration. You have no idea how many people connected with your story. I mean, really connected. You're inspiring them. He chuckled nervously, the sound still foreign to him. Thanks, Jenna. I didn't expect that reaction. She shook her head, her hair bouncing like she was shaking away doubts. Trust me, Alex, you have a gift, and it's not just for speaking. it's for being real. No one wants to hear a perfect life story. They want authenticity. As she spoke, he noticed how a few audience members were still in quiet conversations, sharing their feelings, touching on their own vulnerabilities, and even laughing. It was a collective moment of growth, and it felt like life in full bloom. "I think I might share more," he mumbled, feeling an unfamiliar spark of excitement at the thought. "More? Yes. Imagine the healing that could come from your experience, how it could inspire others." Just then, a woman took the stage, her hands shaking as she gripped the microphone. The crowd quieted instantly, their attention shifting. Alex held his breath, aware that she was about to share her truth, just as he had. "What you said, it resonates with me deeply," she started. Tears threatened to spill, but she pressed on. "I thought I was alone in my struggles. For so long, I felt like an outsider in my own life." Alex felt her pain, and it hit hard. It sunk into him, and he understood the sharing had begun. As this woman spoke, revealing the darkness she had traversed and the light she was still searching for, he felt a sense of camaraderie. Each confession was a star illuminating their shared sky. Then he heard it, a broken sob from somewhere in the audience. It sent a ripple of accountability through him. He had stepped up to the stage to face his fears, and now he resolved to nurture this collective healing. But just as he felt empowered, the fear wormed its way back into his heart. Would he be able to withstand the stories still waiting to unfold? Jenna squeezed his hand tightly then, reading his uncertainty. "You can do this. It's okay to feel vulnerable. That's where the power is." He nodded, though doubt lingered. The sheer weight of stories past and present began to settle around him. Alex couldn't shake the feeling that once he opened this door, there would be no closing it. What more would he be asked to uncover? After a series of brave souls shared their truths, the atmosphere in the room thickened with emotion. It felt almost electric, a tapestry weaving the threads of fear, joy, pain, and hope. Alex realized that every story unveiled was a weapon against the isolation that had haunted them for too long. But then, one last speaker approached the mic, his demeanor unexpected. Alex felt a jolt of anxiety as he recognized the man. It was someone from his own past, someone who once hurt him deeply. Would this person bring chaos to the sanctuary they had created? "Tonight," the man said, his voice steady, "I want to talk about the times I failed, and how I've changed." The crowd leaned in, and Alex's heart raced. What would come next? Would the act of sharing still hold the same healing power when faced with the depths of his own hurt? In the heart of healing and hope, the past threatened to resurface. An unexpected confrontation loomed just as he had begun to find his footing. Would forgiveness blossom amidst the pain, or would it all come crashing down with tangled emotions? The man's voice rolled out into the air, and the crowd held its breath. Alex's gut twisted as shadows from his past danced through his mind. Each word this man spoke felt like an uninvited guest at a party he thought was just starting to feel comfortable. "I know I've hurt people," the speaker continued, his voice faltering slightly. "I've lived in a fog of selfishness for too long." Alex's heart raced. Memories of anger and betrayal surged forward. He had buried them to grow, to heal, but each word from the man felt like a layer being peeled back. Exposing wounds still are a W as the room remained captivated. The man paused. "But I want to change. I want to own my mistakes." With each sentence, the audience's expressions shifted from curiosity to empathy. The tension in the room morphed as they leaned in to hear more. There was something magnetic about this man's vulnerability, something that mirrored what Alex had just experienced. The man spoke about his journey, the sleepless nights, the regrets, the endless attempts at redemption. "When I hit rock bottom," he said, breaking eye contact as he seemed to relive the moment, "I realized I had a choice. I could either keep hiding or start facing my truths. I choose to face them." Alex felt the air thicken. He wanted to scream, to question this man's sincerity. How could he stand there and talk about change? The pain was still so fresh. Yet, as he looked around, he saw others nodding, feeling every word. "I began volunteering at a shelter," the man continued, his voice trembling. "I met people whose stories shook me to the core. They taught me that pain doesn't just vanish. It transforms. The connection grew stronger. Alex could feel the crowd swell with unspoken support, their hearts beating in unison as they absorbed this tale of struggle. Could their shared pain be enough to bridge the gap? He had never thought about forgiveness until this moment. Not while harboring so much resentment. Jenna squeezed Alex's hand again, grounding him. Just breathe, she whispered. You're not alone. The man on stage started to cry, his vulnerability spilling over like an open wound. I don't expect forgiveness, but I hope to share the light I found in the darkness. He looked straight into the audience, as if searching for each person's soul. We've all been lost, haven't we? But it's our willingness to choose healing that sets us free. The crowd erupted in applause. Alex remained frozen, staring at the man before him. Suddenly, a dawning realization crept in. Perhaps confronting his own hurt wasn't meant to destroy him but to rebuild him. The speaker stepped down, his eyes wet but full of determination. As he left the stage, the room hummed with energy, each person processing what had just unfolded. Alex was still caught in the grip of his emotions, a war raging within him. The strength it took to stand out there was immense. Could he find that same courage? But before he could dive into the depths of his thoughts, he heard another voice. Alex. The call was urgent. Jenna was in front of him, a flicker of concern crossing her face. You need to share. Your story matters. Look at everyone. They believe in healing. Alex's mind reeled. Share? Right now? Standing before a new crossroads, his heart raced again. Was he ready to confront what lay buried? Would the moment of truth heal or shatter everything he had built? As he took a deep breath, he stepped forward toward the stage, the weight of uncertainty heavy on his shoulders. In that instant, he knew the next chapter of his journey was about to unfold. But would he dare to embrace the unknown? The crowd watched, and he could feel the energy surrounding him. A swirling storm of hope and fear. It pulsed like a heartbeat, echoing the questions swirling in his mind. Would he rise, or would he fall? Would he find his voice amidst the chaos? Alex stood at the edge of the stage, feeling the weight of everyone's gaze upon him. A chorus of heartbeats filled the room, and for a moment, he felt as if their collective hope surged through the air, enveloping him. It felt heavy and light at the same time, like the quiet before a thunderstorm. He glanced at Jenna, who nodded encouragingly, her eyes shining with belief. Taking a deep breath, he stepped closer to the microphone, the cold metal sending a shiver through him. I never thought I'd be here, he started, his voice trembling but gaining strength with every word. A few years ago, I was just a man hiding behind a facade of wealth and status, afraid to face the truths that haunted me. Quiet whispers rippled through the audience, curiosity mixing with a shared vulnerability. Alex locked eyes with a woman in the front, her face etched with concern. He could see pieces of himself reflected in her expression. I thought that being rich would make me happy, that power could fill the emptiness inside. But wealth can't heal wounds. It can only mask them. The crowd leaned in, rapt attention. With every sentence, he felt his fear ebb away, replaced by the warmth of connection. It wasn't until I met Emily, he continued, turning slightly toward her. Her kindness opened my heart. I began to see how far I had fallen from the essence of humanity. He took another breath, letting the emotions rise. You see, I was broken. I had built my walls so high that I isolated myself from love, connection, and truth. I hid behind money and power, but in doing so, I lost the very essence of who I was. There was silence, only the sound of breath being held in anticipation. When I faced my past, I realized fear was my biggest enemy. And yet, standing here, I know that healing happens when we share our stories. When we connect on a human level. A rustle went through the crowd. People shifted in their seats, nodding in agreement, their hearts synchronized in shared understanding. As Alex spoke, he suddenly remembered his father's harsh words, the weight of expectations that nearly drowned him. For too long, I believed that my past defined me. I learned that strength doesn't come from perfection. It comes from facing our flaws and learning from them. With each word, he felt himself unearthing pieces he had buried deep. Vulnerability surged like a wave, and for the first time in years he felt truly alive. "I'm still scared," he confessed, his voice cracking. "But I'm not alone here. We're not alone. We all have fears, struggles, and stories that shaped us." As he scanned the faces in the crowd, he saw tears glistening, hope igniting. A wave of courage filled him. We can rewrite our narratives together. Every wound can be a bridge, every scar a reminder that healing is possible. The energy in the room shifted, a current of acceptance flowing through them. The stories shared earlier had stitched a bond, a pact of support. With newfound strength, Alex focused on moving forward. Let us take this pain, this fear, and transform it into something beautiful. The applause erupted around him, a mixture of cheers and tears. A wave of warmth washed over him, and he felt the validation of connection fill every corner of his heart. But just as he thought the storm had quelled, he caught a glimpse of a familiar figure lingering at the back, the man from his past. Tension gripped him, yet this time he didn't falter. He stood tall, anchoring himself in the embrace of the moment. "That's the beauty about journeys," he shouted, his voice echoing with conviction. "They're never truly over. We will face our fears continuously, but we will face them together." As the crowd erupted in a standing ovation, laughter mingling with tears, Alex felt a surge of joy. He had taken off the armor, revealing who he truly was, a flawed human yearning for connection. A humbled man in a community willing to embrace the messiness of life hand in hand. Jenna beamed at him from the side, a beacon of hope. "You did it, Alex." He smiled back, feeling the power of collective courage shine through. Life would still come with its challenges, but he was ready to face them, surrounded by a community that understood the beauty in imperfection. The future felt brighter, full of possibilities that lay ahead. They greeted the road with warmth and love, the scars only emphasizing the resilience within them all. The journey was just beginning, and together, they were bound to weave a tapestry of hope unlike any other. As the applause began to fade, laughter echoing softly, Alex took one last look at the crowd, his heart full, ready for whatever would come next. "Now, the time has come for you, dear friends. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to subscribe immediately to the channel. You need to be on board for our next exclusive stories that will tug at your heartstrings and inspire. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach more souls ready for transformation. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. We want to hear your voices. And for goodness sake, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread the love and foster connections together.